Kia ora, everybody. I'm actually in Auckland, New Zealand today for P2P Live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And it's absolutely fabulous out there in Auckland. The lighting, though, in here in this room, though, makes me appear a little bit jaundiced. For some reason, I'm very, very yellow. But welcome to P2P Live. My name's Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People to People in Australia and Frog Recruitment here in New Zealand. And on today's broadcast, we'll be delving into the jobs and employment market throughout Australia, and we will have a specific focus on New Zealand today as well. So we'll do our numbers. Then we've got 3 jobs that we need to fill today that we'll tell you about. We've got a message for all the working holiday makers out there, and then we'll be crossing back to Sydney and chatting to Maddy, who's got the winners of this month's Temp of the Month. So let's jump into it and get straight into our numbers. Well, as we're actually coming to you live from New Zealand, I thought I would actually share with you some comparative numbers on the unemployment rate and the wage price inflation in New Zealand. So let's get started here with New Zealand's unemployment rate. And it is at a remarkable 3.2%. And I had our Frog Recruitment board meeting this morning, and we were talking about the possibility of that starting with a 2 here in New Zealand. So there is a very strong labour market. There is a candidate shortage. If you're looking for work in New Zealand, you should get in touch with our Frog recruitment office in Auckland and in Wellington. Just to point out too, we can see your comments live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you've got any questions about what I'm talking about today, make sure you pop your comments in there and I'll get to them straight away. So you can see the peak of the COVID recession there in the most recent few months, but we are now at a very strong 3.2% unemployment rate here in New Zealand. The comparative rate in Australia is 4%. So at 3.2%, it is looking very good. So what about wage price inflation? What are people getting as a pay rise here in New Zealand? So you can see the graph that I've got in front of you here from Stats NZ is the inflation rate and the labour cost inflation. So basically the equivalent of the wage price index in Australia. And you've got 2 lines there. So the yellow line is the basically the pay rises that people are getting, and the CPI is the green line. So what you can see here is that wages have increased about 3% in New Zealand in the last quarter. And it's the highest that wage inflation has been in more than a decade. To give you an idea here, the average hourly rate in New Zealand is $36.18. But it still doesn't match the inflation rate. So you can see there, it sits at 6.9%. That's that spike that you can see at the end there, the blue line. And it certainly, although people have not been getting these type of increases for over a decade, the problem is, and it's the same in Australia, is that it's not keeping up with inflation. So inflation in Australia is at 5, but here in New Zealand, the numbers that came out just yesterday, 6.9% inflation, and yet you're only getting a 3% pay rise. Very interesting numbers. The other thing that I thought I'd point out, which just came out in the New Zealand numbers yesterday, is sick leave and COVID and the effect of COVID and on sick leave. And so the number of people who were away for a full week or more in the March quarter here in New Zealand was up a whopping 67% compared to the same time last year. So it is definitely having an effect on the availability of labour as well. Let's have a look at the equivalent Australian numbers when it comes to the annual wage growth. So remember I said that in New Zealand it was 3%. So we've got the two comparative numbers here in Australia. The private increase, and we only have up until the end of December. We're expecting that the new wage numbers should come out in the next little while, in the next 10 days or so. So once we have those, we'll certainly share with you those numbers here on P2P Live. But you can see that the private sector is at 2.4%, and at the public sector is just at 2.1% in terms of the annual increases. And you heard the most recent inflation number sitting at 5%. So there are real wage declines at the moment. So some very interesting numbers there in terms of wage price inflation and unemployment rate here in New Zealand and in Australia. So let's move on. And what we'll do now is that we've got 3 jobs that we need to fill today across Australia. Here they are. Let's jump into those now. It's Fill Job Friday across Australia, and I'm coming to you all the way from New Zealand. Still, we got 3 jobs that we need to fill in Australia right now. First one, admin job, Melbourne CBD, paying $30 an hour. It's a well-known construction organisation based in the CBD. They're looking for somebody for an initial 2-month temp assignment. There is the possibility that it could actually go on now, but it's an admin assistant with previous HR experience, which would be ideal. Not necessary that you do have that. Solid A admin, that'll get you there anyway. If you want to apply for this job, you can apply in the comments. The job has just been placed in the comments there. Jump onto that as well. Here's the next one. Marketing specialist. This one's in Daisy Hill in Queensland. So it's an 8 to 10 week assignment, $42 to $45 an hour. There is the scope for extension there as well, where they're looking for somebody to lead the delivery and manage marketing and communications projects and events. Sexy job, this one. You'll be providing expert marketing and communication solutions to assist this particular enterprise. It is in the education sector, I should say. And you've got to have previous marketing experience. Melanie Hammond is the person to contact in our Queensland office, 07 3118 0125, if you want to give her a call, or you can apply in the comments there. Here's the last one. Accounts payable officer, Sydney, CBD, New South Wales, $35 to $38 an hour. It's an IT business. They're growing through acquisition. They need an accounts payable clerk to process, so batching, coding and inputting of expenses, and to do the reconciliations as well. If you've got Microsoft Dynamics or Business Central experience, that's going to get you right there into this job starting Monday. So apply online in the comments, or you can give Liam Graffiti, who's the consultant who's on this at the moment, a call on 8270-9772. And he can give you more details there as well. $35 to $38 an hour. So here are the 3 hot jobs that we want to fill today. Admin assistant, Will Hillgrove in Melbourne. Give him a call. Marketing specialist, contact Melanie Hammond in Brisbane. And our accounts payable position in the Sydney office with Liam Graffiti. Jump onto those. You can start on Monday. If you need to, if you're on the bus, thinking how to apply for these jobs, I'm just listening to this while I'm on my mobile phone. You can do that. If you hit apply, you can apply with Vply. That is simply just about using a video on your phone to apply for that job, and then we'll get in touch with you. Vply, the links are for all of those vacancies are in the comments there as well. Righto, let's move on. We've got the temp of the month to announce, but to get us there, we've got a message for anybody who's watching this who's a working holiday maker. The Australian and New Zealand jobs market right now is hot, and I know that there's a lot of people who are planning to come to Australia and New Zealand on a working holiday. Here's a message from Bianca and Alia from our Sydney team.
Sydney's one of the prettiest cities in the world.
And with a view like that, you can see why.
As the international borders open,
People to People welcomes you.
the job market is busy.
So if you have valid working rights,
either arriving on a working holiday visa or something similar, and any office experience, we would love to hear from you.
Connect with us by sharing your resume and arrival dates.
And our team will do our best to hook you up with an excellent temporary role.
It's that time of the month again, and we're talking to Maddy from our Sydney team, who's going to announce the temp of the month. G'day, Maddy.
Hey, Mark.
How's the weather over in Sydney versus? Look how jaundiced I look. I look like I'm this. My liver's not working or my kidneys aren't working.
It's beautiful here. Nice and sunny, a little bit cold, but it's good for a bit of a change.
It's magic here in Auckland too, as well. But why are we talking about the weather? We're here to talk about the temp of the month. I'll hand over to you if you can announce this month's winners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So temp of the month. So we'll start with Brisbane this month. So the nominees we have in Brisbane are Adele Billington and Elena Dovegull. And so temp of the month for Brisbane goes to Adele Billington. So comments from Adele's employers were that she's become a great team member, really flexible, hardworking, and always receives really positive feedback from their clients. So congratulations to Adele. And then we're going to go over to Perth. So we've got a couple of nominees for Perth in terms of temp of the month. So we've got Kashina Pillay and Angela Namuski, who are both nominated. And so temp of the month for Perth goes to Kashina. So comments from Kashina was that has been a long-standing team member, always willing and keen to help out, receives great feedback from all of the customers and clients as well. So really positive feedback there. And then now we're going to go to Sydney. So for temp of the month, we had a couple of nominees in Sydney. First nominee was Andrea Kramer. Ashley Hollis was also nominated, and Frank Wu as well. And so temp of the month is who is it? So temp of the month is Frank Wu. So Frank's actually worked for people a couple of times now, and he always gets really positive feedback. But currently, Frank is a great employee, really hardworking, and always keen to take on more responsibility and help out the team. So congratulations to Frank Wu.
Well done, Frank, and thanks for all your hard work on those many assignments. Okay, all right. So while I've got you, so that's it for the month, is it?
That's it for the month. So definitely we always say we love to get our clients' feedback. So in terms of voting, our clients can submit their votes when approving the temps timesheets. It's always really good for us to get feedback as well, to see how everyone's going and get really positive feedback too.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. So I've got to do my job by asking you, how's the market in Sydney right now for temporary? I know you're one of our temp specialists. I mean, how much work is there out there at the moment?
There's a lot of work. There's a lot of jobs. Definitely, as everyone says, candidate short. So we're really trying to make sure that, especially now with borders opening up, we're going out to hostels, dropping in some flyers, trying to get our P2P name out there so that we can get some more candidates coming through. Because we've got a lot of opportunities available. So really, just trying to look for candidates that are ready and wanting to work so we can help them out best.
Great. Well, I can see that Mido on Facebook has said, can I ask a question? Absolutely, Mido. Go right ahead.
Ask away.
I can't ask away. I can't see any of your whatever your question is, but we can see it. So jump ahead and do that. So, and what about working holiday makers? I know that you saw Bianca and Ali put out that message, and I know that it's going across social media at the moment. Are there many working holiday makers in available at the moment?
There's a few coming through, which is really good. So we've had a couple of candidates, submit queries through the website. We had someone last week actually just walk into the office, which was great to see. I got a bit shocked.
How old school is that? It's like it's 1985.
I almost forgot what to do when it wasn't virtual, but yeah, definitely, definitely people are starting to come back through, which is really good to see. So, hopefully that trend does get a little bit more steady, and yes, some more working holiday visas can come through, because our clients always really love the work that they do. They're, great workers dedicated to their jobs. So, hopefully it just keeps going up.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Congratulations to all of our winners, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, Maddy.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Mark.
Okay, cool. All right, let's wrap things up with our weekly Twitter poll. Let's have a look at the results from last week. And thanks to Kath, who was hosting in the last couple of weeks while I've been gallivanting around the place and getting COVID and the like. So here are the results. Do you care when co-workers turn their cameras off during meetings? Well, 19% say yes. And I've got to say, I am a solid part of that. It's very disrespectful for people who don't put their camera on. But apparently, I'm way in the minority, because 81% of the people on Twitter said, no, doesn't matter. It's all fine. That's really interesting about what is the etiquette on when you're actually on virtual meetings these days. So let's move on. Let's have a look at this week's poll. Would you consider a temporary job whilst looking for a permanent one? We've been talking about temp jobs here and working holiday makers. What about you? If you're out there and you think, no, bugger it, I'm going to leave this perm job. I don't like it now. I think I'm going to take a temp job whilst I look for a role permanently. Is that something you do? Yes, I would. No, I wouldn't. Depends on the job. Let's see what the results are and what the Twitterverse says out there at the moment. Okay, all right. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for P2P Live once again, 12:30 on a Friday afternoon, this time all the way from Auckland. You may have noticed this sign over here for New Zealand's top office dog. This is the competition. We have Oz top dog as well, but there are some real cuties for dogs, for the winners over the last couple of years. If you'd like to learn more, we've just popped a link in the comments there as well. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you all at the same time, 12:30 next week. Catch you then.